Good morning, everybody. This is going to be a little bit of a long talk, I think, maybe this morning. It is Tuesday, and August 25, I believe. Something. I'm getting myself some coffee, and I'm in my house, in my apartment, and I don't know, I'm gonna set you down somewhere, and we're just gonna start talking. And if you're watching this, that's beautiful. And if you're not, that's also beautiful, because it is all about you. And you and you and you and me sitting here together. And yesterday I made a post about what is the biggest behavioral change that you have done in your life. And lots of responses, and I'm so grateful for them, and it's really really very cool to hear how everyone is thinking about that, or you know, or not thinking about that, because all of it's so important. I don't know. I think the biggest behavioral change that I've done in my life is never labeling myself as a victim at all. And I don't want to make this really like deep and serious, because actually, in fact, when I realized that I started to label myself as a victim, or that I was doing it in so many ways, like so many ways in my life. They're really subtle ways, and there's this big play. When I recognized that that victimhood was there with many, many things, it didn't matter what I was doing, it didn't matter how I was behaving, that I was not going to beat myself up for anything that I do in my life, and I'm gonna stop that. So I made that change, and that was the biggest thing I've ever done in my life. So I think if you're with me this morning, you've been following me, and you have been, maybe something has resonated with you, and all this. Being, you know, one of the things about being a victim of circumstance, and that I mean circumstance of everything, you know, the victimhood is like laying blame, and laying blame on others, and shame, and all that. And then again, I realize I start to get really, really deep, but I just don't want to be talking deep this morning, because I'm really not hijacked by that emotion or victimhood and everything. But the ego can come up with, you know, the ego can come up with a way to describe this so you can feel it, or you can get into it, you can feel sad for me, or you can feel happy for me, or whatever. So that always changes in myself. So I'm gonna keep this light. I'm gonna try to keep this light, because I can see through the veil. And I'm starting to see through the veil, and I have actually been seeing through the veil for a long time. But as I started to do this channel, it was like, or I started to do this talk, and these talks every morning that I just decided to do and start doing. I don't know, it just kind of happened. I don't know, I did one of them, and it's just started to happen. Other things started to arise, and me doing my vlogs, and me trying to be, I don't know, again, some kind of hobby where I tried to be perfect in the hobby, or if I tried to, how can I be seen, or all these things. And that soon, quickly started to reveal itself, and I was like, what am I trying to get here, or what am I trying to do? And the ego mind started to try to label it and say, hey, you know what, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this for them to watch you, to like you, to all these things. And it's really, really subtle, because I have come to realize that, you know, like, the ego mind is really, my God, has really tries to run the show, and a lot of in our lives, you know, it's like, which brings me compassion for a lot of people, because the ego really tries to run a lot of things, and we are not our egos. It's just like, as I started to look at my existence in my life, I realized, you know, since I was a little boy, I was raised to compete in a competition. And competition was very subtle, because this is what everyone did, you know, on the games, and, you know, like, we would win or lose, and so it was like, the winner takes it all, you know, like, and that's the way I was raised, and everything in our culture is really about that. So in competition with everything, and we become materialists over time, and if in my early years I started to get trophies and win ribbons for swimming and win awards and being awarded something for an achievement, which isn't a bad thing. I don't think anything is bad, because it teaches us. Everything is so good. I've come to realize that after the veil is being lifted, that everything is good. Perhaps during this victimhood stage of mine, that I really realized that I am not that, and I can make a choice of being that, and I am just am. I am just am. So this spiritual journey is, or this journey of mine of discovering myself, and has been going on for a very long time. But that spiritual journey was also a trap, and I've also started to realize that it was a trap. And doing these talks and sharing with you and dancing out and feeling very vulnerable and all of this stuff that comes along with feeling like a victim, and it's scary, you know. It's like you go back in the corner and you hide, and you like feel like, hey, my God, you know, I've got to feel good, so all the time I've got to feel good, which in fact you're actually suffering, because you're not really being yourself, and all these things. Because I started to realize, as a creative person, I think, you know, like, especially being business with myself, when I started to become in business with myself, which was the best thing I ever did, because I don't know, I'm in charge of myself, and I see how myself is, and so I don't have to, how can you say, answer under anybody necessarily. And no, I don't have to do that. I determine I just determine myself. All of these things are really like constructs, so it sounds kind of a little bit, I don't know, it sounds a little bit funny, but that's why this is going to be a really long talk this morning. So I'm just going to talk, because I don't want to try to get anything done, and, you know, get anything out to you necessarily that is going to impress you in a short amount of time. Maybe that happens sometimes, maybe it doesn't. So I'm here to just say, like, you know, it's like, I am at a point in my life right now where I don't care what other people think about me, because I live a huge part of my life there. Let me just clarify about people pleasing and all these kind of things. You know, it's not about me not caring about I would just do whatever I want and everything, is that, which in fact is what I want to do, but I love all humanity. I love all people. I love everybody, and love is not, and I learned, you know, it's so interesting about the ego, because I learned that perhaps sorry, there's a bug. There's a bug into my screen here. What was I saying? Do I have to rewind it? I forgot what I was saying. I'll get back on what I was saying. But, yeah, I'm at a point in my life where I have been so tired with my mind telling me all of this bullshit about not doing well, or listening to the opinions of others, and thinking that I was, you know, so-called, I don't know, they don't get me, they don't understand me, all this kind of bullshit that has been arising. And this spiritual journey has been going on for such a long time, or this journey about myself has been for a very long time. And I'm at a point in my life where, oh no, people pleasing. Sorry, I have to come back to that. So this is what's happened. Happens like in a real conversation, right? When you're having a conversation with somebody. Because, oh my God, I lost the thought again. I lost the thought. That's okay. I get lost in my thoughts. People pleasing. No? Isn't that funny? I forgot and lost again. Am I concentrating? I'm not concentrating. Don't turn it off yet. Just don't turn it off yet. So as I'm at a point in my life right now where I just don't care what people think about me in the sense of anything, really. And I love people, and I have compassion for all people in the world. I have no hatred in my heart. And that has to do also with the victimhood of myself. I am not a victim. I'm not a victim of anything. And I decide that. I'm not going to label, I'm not going to judge. And I think one of the biggest behavioral changes that I have done is stop labeling and stop judging. It doesn't mean that the mind doesn't arise and do that. It does do that. But that is part of me. And it offers me a possibility to look at that ego and to really shine light on it in a way and try to get more familiar with myself. And I think I am more familiar with myself than I have ever been in my life. And every circumstance has taught me something about myself. And I am at a point where I don't care what other people think, and I'm living actually from a point in my life where I am just in the moment, observing everything, observing my thoughts, observing my environment, observing my thoughts first of all. And if you meditate, if you don't meditate, it's all good. You don't have to, it's just a tool. It does a tool. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything to change yourself. But awareness of meditation, I do it off and on, and I just started back doing it a little bit here and there. I am not an angel. I am not anything like, you know, I am like a person that is full of like ups and downs with myself, and I believe that that is normal. Once someone perhaps labeled me as being, you know, concerned maybe that I was bipolar. I am not bipolar. Oh my God, that's a whole nother subject. Not for me. I am not bipolar. I am a human being who is aware of his emotions, that goes up and down, and constantly, like, it could be every minute of the day that it happens. And wow, it really is just interesting to watch that. And we, you know, like maybe perhaps sometimes we're just so intoxicated with the moment. In fact, no, not with the construct of the moment and our minds labeling the moment. He is not liking me, he really likes me. Oh wow, that's really interesting. Oh, look how pretty she is. I bet she thinks that she's really pretty. Like, you know, like these labels and these judgments that are just there, like all the time they arise, like in the conditioned mind. And as I start to look at this play, I just, like, it became a moment in my life where I just started to laugh at the whole situation. And that the whole thing about competition that I wrote on my post the other day, if you follow me on Facebook, is that competition is, like I started with this earlier talk, has taught me something very, very strange. All of that is ego-based. And it can be a very good thing. Of course it can be a very good thing, because it brought me to this point right now to be able to share this with you. And, you know, right now in my mind, it's very interesting because I can see, you know, I'm like talking to you and then my mind rises with different thoughts. And it starts to say, you know, it starts to label it, and it's, you know, it's very interesting to watch that, to judge what I'm doing right now with you, and that, you know, I'm gonna lose everybody here with my talk and my jargon, and I'm going to, you know, appear to be, you know, I don't know, appear to be something other than I'm not. If you understand the trap, the trap of these kind of things that are just rising. And my mind talks to me all the time. My mind talks to me many times my mind talks to me, period. As you can see that. But as I look at it, you know, it's like I'm living now from a point, I've decided that I'm living now from a point that I am in the moment all the time. And then I'm not out to compete for anything. I don't care how successful I've become in my profession. Let me just say that. I love dance so much, and I continue, and as a creator, as a creator and a teacher and all that, that is amazing because I get to be with people, first of all, and I get to share, and I get to learn about myself through my relationships with people in the studio and in my life. And I really love the dance, and dancing, when I get myself into that space and I share it, it is an amazing thing, and I want to share and teach that. And you know, and like I'm getting further and further away from, you know, and experimenting with less technique and more improvisation, and believing that that's a higher art as I channel my work. And let me just, I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about my work as a choreographer, especially as a choreographer, because right now there's a situation and many challenges arise in your experience. I'm getting ready to go to the Sydney Fringe Festival, and I have made a work called Seeing the Light, and I intuitively, I channeled that work. I thought up things, how can you say, I did little research here and there about the project, just for myself. And I never, as a creator, I have never thought about the audience. It doesn't mean that my mind hasn't, or that I would need to be approved by other people in this profession, and by my work. And my work is intuitive, and my work is channeled in that sense, because I get into a studio and I sometimes, but rarely do I work under concepts. And they do work, and I think it's great, and to each their own. But I think I have worked with concepts, and I have achieved things. But I think, you know, in a way, it's channeling my work and coming to the studio and allowing myself to actually express the fact that I do that is a big thing, because that's about the people pleasing. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And all the companies that I work for and the schools and things like that, I have done those things, and I have been invited back, and I have not been invited back to do things, and that's all good. And if I look and determine myself from, or kind of value myself from the success and failures that I've had, it's just part of life. And it's just a really informative thing for me. So I guess the ego game is very important, because I can see through it, and then I can make a decision on how I'm going to live my life. And I'm here sharing it with you. And if you watched this far, that's really cool. And if you haven't, that's also really cool, because I think my person's being selfless. I'm not here to impress, and I'm not here to try to get anything from you. And even though my mind just right now probably said, yes, I like that, I like when they do this, I like when they like it, I like when they, you know, if it resonates, it resonates. And that is also falling, because I in the beginning of starting this, I was looking for likes and channels, and not likes to my channel, and trying to get you to my channel, and trying to convince you of something, and da. And that is just another competition, and it's another rising of that. It's very interesting, and it's a really, as I look around, there's a lot of things about me that you don't know, and that I share. I'm a very open person. I'm not an angel, and one thing that probably really scares me to say, which is really interesting, but then again, I have been sober from drinking alcohol for about 14 years. And that's a very personal thing for me. And about 14, I guess it's about 14 years, I am not an angel, and I have, that's just one substance that I cut out. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made, because that addiction was starting to take me over a little bit. Then again, I am not an angel. I smoke pot occasionally, and from time to time, sometimes more, sometimes less. I'm just admitting that because it brought me to a state in a way where I could forget my thinking. But I also, during that, I just stopped labeling myself as a victim. I'm not a victim. When I make a choice to do something, I own the choice of that in everything that I'm doing. And that has been the biggest behavioral change for me, because victimhood is not cool for me anymore, to myself, because there are plenty of people maybe perhaps out that does that to me, and hates what I'm doing. Maybe, at least my mind says that, my ego says that. Oh my God, they're hating what you're doing, all these things. Yeah, you know, it's really, really funny, but at the same time, that doesn't matter. None of that freaking matters, because it's my life. And you know, you can see how I get defensive. Also, that also falls. The mental construct in your mind is happening all the time. It's going up and down, and we are influenced and conditioned by so many things in our culture and our religions and all these kind of things. It's just really, really interesting for me. And I feel like sharing that this morning, because that's really, really real, and I'm trying to be as real as possible. And I said a few things that I never thought I would say here, and my mind does think what people might think about that. But that's just, you know, I am a very, very happy person because of my choice of being in the space with myself, and realizing that I do have a choice, and bypassing or allowing these thoughts to rise and fall in my mind has been one of the biggest advances that I have done authentically for myself, is recognizing that play, and recognizing and having a willingness to understand where it's coming from. And you know, and I can really have that, and when I stop labeling it, is this clear or is it blurry? I guess it doesn't matter if it's blurry. Anyway, when I stop labeling everything and judging everything that I do, I start living from the power of now. And you know, yes, I've read Eckhart Tolle, and I think it's an incredible book, and he's incredible. I've been watching Alan Watts lately, and wow, my God, what an incredible theologian. And I have been on this journey for a very, very long time with myself, and I think it's really incredibly valuable, and for myself and how I, oh my God, I just want to share it in a way, because not because I want to save humanity. It's not really about that, even though my ego kind of says that. It's just that, I don't know, we're in a time with social media, and that I can actually sit here with my camera and share, and people can look and watch and stop watching maybe the television and media, and being, how can I say, I don't know, entertaining more of the ego self, and it's trying to grasp you and get you. And I can share on Facebook, and most people, I think maybe most people are not sharing anything because they're terrified of things. And I question now, as far as I'm going, like, what is private life, and why do I have to think that I have to live a specific way to get specific things? When I know that trap, I stop doing that, and I stop doing it because I just don't want that relationship with myself. And wow, it's just, when I share all these things, they really helped me. And I'm not here to help humanity in that way. I'm just sharing my freaking self and enjoying the fact that I can be so free within me and be able to do this. And you know, I cut off, so I'm gonna put this on my computer and combine it, which takes some time. Anyhow, so let me just let me just round this up because it's probably like, I don't know, almost 30 minutes long. And if you're watching, that's really great. And if you're not, that's also great. Like I said, hello. I am just as open and honest as I can be with myself and realizing that I am not any of this. And the most beautiful thing about life is rising above all these things and realizing what you truly are. And that is something so powerful and so incredible that it goes beyond any construct that you have, and it goes beyond anything that you are trying to get from this life, and that you open yourself up and you realize that you are the sky, you are the clouds, you are the stars, you are the ocean, you are nature. And that everything, you know, like everything in my body, in my existence is happening to me and not happening for me and not to me, if you understand, if I clarify that right. I am an organism, and so is the earth, and what I see, and my soul is all around me and all outside, and I witness it through my senses, but I am not my senses just. Wisdom and ancient wisdom has been telling us that, and that journey, that's why I share it with you, because that journey of mine that I try to understand myself and the suffering that comes along with self is like, has fallen. And when I look past that, that's what I want to share, that it's so magical and mystical, and it's absolutely the most amazing thing, and we can do that with ourselves. And I feel so passionate about it because I feel so good. I feel so good. And I think it's one of the most beautiful things that we are able to do, and to within ourselves. And it is such a precious thing, and people can feel that. And it's so beautiful, and so it affects everything that I do in my life. And gosh, I could talk forever and ever, and here I go. But I'm gonna put these things together, and if thank you for watching again, and love is the name of the game, and if there is a game, I don't know, but you are very special and magnificent and amazing and all of that, and let go of everything and the victimhood and the judgments and the labels of yourself especially, and then have compassion for others. It's just, I feel like I just feel like I want to share that. Just that. And yes, I could talk forever and ever because I have a lot to say. But then at one day, I think there's nothing else to say. Because there's no thing. And if that resonates with you, that resonates. And if not now, it may be sometime later. And so maybe I put these things out there and maybe you come back to it. I love you so, so much, everybody, and keep laughing, keep smiling, keep rising above, keep allowing. I'm allowing myself to continue to talk here. See how the ego says, you should not talk anymore. Why not? I'm just sharing. All right, bye-bye, and keep it real. Keep it real. Love, love, love.